Hello, welcome to quiz time. Today we have a baby boomers quiz. So, are you a baby boomer? Might you know the answers? Let's find out. Name the neighbourhood game that was quite popular and needed an empty can. Get the can, make the can, or kick the can. Kick the can. After the end of programming, what song would play on television? The Star-Spangled Banner, The Stars and Stripes Forever, or America the Beautiful? The Star-Spangled Banner. What phrase best sums up the Beatles' ascent to fame in America? Beatle virus, Beatlemania, or Beatle Kingdom? Beatlemania. What did people listen to before cassettes? Cassettes, 8-tracks and CD players. Tubeless radio, transistor radio, or antique radio? Transistor radio. Which music festival from the 1960s is the most famous? Woodstock, Burning Man, or Live Aid? Woodstock. Mr. Ed from the popular sitcom was who or what? A talking alien, a talking cat, or a talking horse? Mr. Ed was a horse, of course. For its TV turkey dinners, which firm was most well known? Swanson, McDonald's, or Lean Cuisine? Swanson. Who or what was Chatty Cathy? Famous actress, talking doll, or popular TV show? A talking doll. What food item advertised itself as having 12 ways to build strong bodies? Wonder Bread, Wonder Cheese, or Wonder Food? Wonder Bread. Where may aspiring scientists purchase sea monkeys? Pet store, zoo, or ads in comic books? From ads in comic books. Of these toys, which one was not around when baby boomers were growing up? Hula hoop, bake oven, or super soaker? Super soaker. In the 1950s, what kind of haircut was fashionable for boys? Ducktail, duck face, or duck style? Ducktail. Which programme did Mary Tyler Moore guest star on prior to having her own show? That Girl, Dick Van Dyke, or Gilligan's Island? Dick Van Dyke. Which kind of jeans were hippies wearing? Skinny, bell bottoms, or flares? Bell bottoms. Which sandwich was Elvis's favourite? Peanut butter and banana, peanut butter and jelly, or ham and cheese? peanut butter and banana. What was the name for bicycles that had banana seats and tall handlebars? Bananas, riders, or stingrays? It's stingrays. What percentage of the US population was made up of baby boomers as of 2012? 10%, 15%, or 20%? It's 20%. What was the name of the vibrantly coloured strings that boys and girls traded? Love beads, peace beads, or funny beads? It's love beads. What was the name of the white boots with somewhat below the knee heels? Party boots, snow boots, or go-go boots? Go-go boots. In the 1950s, what was the term of use for disc jockeys? Disco king, payola, or night player? Payola. Which instant beverage was the astronauts' favourite for a breakfast? Tang, cola, or lemonade? It was Tang. At the beginning of the 1960s, who was the US president? Dwight D. Eisenhower, JFK, or Harry S. Truman? Dwight David Eisenhower. Which oil-rich state in the United States became the 49th state in 1959? Vermont, Georgia, or Alaska? Alaska. What was the impetus behind Rachel Carson's 1962 book, Silent Spring? Environmental health, environmental diseases, or environmental movement? Environmental movement. Which game show had a scandal involving predetermined results? Beat the Clock, Concentration, or 21? Which brief but well-liked dance calls for lying down flat on the floor? The limbo, the jerk, or the watusi? The limbo. What was the name of the US inaugural atomic submarine launched in 1954? USS Nautilus, US Nemo, or US Titanic? US Nautilus. What idea was put forth in the 1960s on the genesis of the universe? Big Bang Theory, the flat Earth, or the geocentric model? Big Bang Theory. Which video game was the first to replicate table tennis? Tennis War, Pong, or Ping Pong? It was Pong. Which 1950s era magazine is renowned for having a fold-in rear cover? Mad Magazine, Home Chat, or the American Mercury? Mad Magazine. Which television programme had a redhead actress in a humorous role? The Honeymooners, I Married Joan, or I Love Lucy? I Married Joan. Which war did the United States play a major role in during the 1960s? Vietnam War, Korean War, or Indochina War? Vietnam War. Which island-rich US state was admitted as the 50th state in 1959? Alaska, Nevada, or Hawaii? It was Hawaii. Which 1965 law forbade racial discrimination in American elections? The Equality Act, the Voting Rights Act, or the Humanity Rights Act? The Voting Rights Act. What kind of music preservation was more compact than records in 1950s? RPM singles, jukebox, or MP3? RPM singles. An Edsel was what kind of product? Candy, a game, or an automobile? An Edsel was what kind of product? It was an automobile. Which of these guys was a Western movie icon in the 1950s? John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, or Clark Gable? John Wayne. The famous robbery brought around 2.8 million in 1950. Where did it happen? Chicago, Washington, or Boston? It was Boston. In 1950, who was the Stanley Cup winners? Detroit Wings, New York Rangers, or Toronto Maple Leafs? Detroit Red Wings. Where was Grace Kelly and Prince Rainier's widely reported wedding? New York, Monaco, or Barcelona? It was Monaco. During the Red Scare, American authorities made an effort to find German spies, communists, or Japanese spies. Communists. Which daytime drama with the longest run switched from radio to television in 1952? Rocket Squad, Days of Our Lives, or Guiding Light? Guiding a Light. Which 1950 song was the biggest hit at number 1? The Tennessee Waltz, Goodnight Irene, or The 12th of Never? The Tennessee Waltz. Among these movies, which one came out in 1957? Cleopatra, The Bridge Over the River Kwai, or 633 Squadron? The Bridge Over the River Kwai. Which war ended just before the 1950s American economic period? Korean War, Gulf War, or World War II? World War II. What or who was the topic of Richard Nixon's 1952 speech? A cocker spaniel, a spaceship, or World War II? It was a Cocker Spaniel dog. Name the first ever racehorse to earn $1 million in history. Citation, Seabiscuit or Man of War. It was Citation. In the 1950s, what was referred to as a pad? Advertisement, pillow or residence. Was your residence. True or false? In 1950, Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat to a white person. It's false. It was actually in 1955. Bit of a trick one then. What was forbidden under the Brown v. Board of Education law? School segregation, school dates, or school additional activities? School segregation. In 1950, what was the average family income as reported by the US Census? $3,300, $3,500, or $2,100? $3,300. In the 1950s, Theodore Giselle wrote children's novels under what pen name? Tony Abbott, Dr. Seuss, or Raymond Aberrashkin? Dr. Seuss. Which icon was one of the most famous sex symbols of the 1950s? Ursula Andrews, Betty Page, or Marilyn Monroe? Marilyn Monroe. Name the company formed when Kelvin Nater and Hudson Motorcar merged. American Motors, General Motors, or Ford? American Motors. What was the average cost of a movie theatre ticket in 1950? 80 cents, 20 cents, or 50 cents? $0.50. What was the name of the Giants' 1959 stadium in San Francisco? Candlestick Park, Willie Mays Stadium, or Kentucky Memorial Stadium? Candlestick Park. Which musical genre was popular in the late 1950s? Pop, rock and roll, or rock? Rock and roll. Which fast food debuted with the tune Hold the Pickle, Please Hold the Lettuce? KFC, McDonald's, or Burger King? It was Burger King. On August the 1st, 1950, what was the first animated television series to air? Felix the Cat, Crusader Rabbit, or Clutch Cargo? Crusader Rabbit. What was the profession of Jonas Salk, whose work had a major global impact? An astronaut, a doctor, or a writer? A doctor. What were women encouraged to become in the 1950s? Working mothers, housewives, or part-time workers? Housewives. The $64 million question. was won by psychologist Joyce Brothers. The topic was literature, American psychology, or boxing. Boxing. Which fiction book was the best-selling in 1950? The Cardinal, The Last Hurrah, or Charlotte's Web? It's The Cardinal. The 1950s are renowned for having produced cities, festivals, or the suburbs. The suburbs. Who was named the 1953 Academy Award winner for Best Actor? Gary Cooper, James Dean, or Frank Sinatra? It was Gary Cooper. Which phrase was approved by Congress in 1953 for use on all US coins and currency? Freedom, In God We Trust, or God Bless America? In God We Trust. What was the price of a loaf of bread in 1950? 20 cent, 50 cent, or 14 cent? $0.14. What was the last name of the character Robert Young played in Father Knows Best? Wilson, Anderson, or Jones? It's Anderson. Which great actor from the 1950s passed away young? John Wayne, James Dean, or Doris Day? It was James Dean. At the age of 22, who declared her retirement from the film industry? Shirley Temple, Grace Kelly, or Jane Mansfield? Shirley Temple. Who was it that President Harry Truman fired, sparking a public outcry? George Marshall, Douglas MacArthur, or George S. Patton? It was Douglas MacArthur. Which shade of lipstick was popular among women? Nude, red, or rose brown? Red. In New York, the first credit card was used. What was the charge card company's name? Goldfish, Charge It, or Diners Club? Diners Club. On the day the music died, which of the following was not a victim of murder? Don McLean, Buddy Holly, or Richie Valens? It was Don McLean. Which of these recipes from the 1950s has endured over time? Green bean casserole, chicken hot pot pie, or Dinty Moore beef stew? Green bean casserole. Name the recording studio that Sam Phillips founded at 706 Union Avenue. Moonshine Records, Sugar Ray's Studio, or Sun Studio? Sun Studio. What was the name Davy Crockett assigned to his firearm? Betsy, Rosa, or Diana? It was Betsy. In the 1950s, no stylish lady would leave the house without it: a cigar holder, a visit card, or matching accessories. Matching accessories. Which performer did not record at Sun Studios? Buddy Holly, Elvis Presley, or Jerry Lee Lewis? Buddy Holly. What was the author of the Chicago Sun-Times Ann Landers column's birth name? Jane Lynn, Esther Pauline Friedman, or Anne Adams? Esther Pauline Friedman. What type of food blew up during baby boomers period? Asian food, vegan food, or fast food? Fast food. Name Disney's released first live-action film based on Robert Stevenson's novel: Cinderella, Treasure Island, or Dumbo? It's Treasure Island. Which popular soap opera ran on television from 1956 to 2010? Love of Life, Guiding Light, or As the World Turns? As the World Turns. Which dish has become a housewife's favourite? Casseroles, salad, or fast foods? It's casseroles. Identify the Nat King Cole song about the well-known painting: Scream, Mona Lisa, or Starry Night? Mona Lisa. Which of these books was a 1950s novel published? Atlas Shrugged, Lolita, or The Catcher in the Rye? The Catcher in the Rye. What contributed significantly to the 1950s prosperity? Banks, government spending, or developers? Government spending. Name the movie star who owned a TV and was a singing cowboy: Gene Autry, James Stewart, or Cary Grant? Gene Autry. In the 1950s, what kind of dinners gained popularity? Family, business, or TV? TV. Name top person on the FBI's list of the 10 most wanted: Thomas James Holden, William Francis Sutton, or William Francis Sutton? Thomas James Holden. In the 1950s, what was thought to be a panacea for mental illness? Heroin, lobotomy, or electrotherapy? Lobotomy. Which company used the champagne of bottled beer as its slogan? Old Style Beer, Lone Star Beer, or Miller Beer? Miller Beer. In the 1950s, men's suits were loose, tight or colourful? They were loose. In 1950, who was the Man of the Year for Time magazine? Firefighters, doctors, or the American fighting man? The American fighting man. What kind of food initially gained popularity in America? Organic, canned and frozen, or spice? It's canned and frozen. In the 1950s, how many people envisioned the future of America? Apocalyptic, prosperous or global empire? Prosperous. Which style impacted casual clothing for men? Street style, vintage or Western? Western. What kind of issue did many cities face in the 1950s? Trash, population or smog? It was smog. Which brand of toothpaste was the first to use fluoride? Crest, Colgate or Aquafresh? Crest. And your last one, which Broadway musical made its premiere in 1951? Guys and Dolls, The King and I, or Brigadoon? It was The King and I. So, are you a baby boomer? Did you get them right? Drop your score in the comments below, and of course like and subscribe so we notify you every time we post a new quiz. And please join us next time on Quiz Time.